Hi, my name's Doug, and I'm doing a presentation on two talks by Radhanath Swami. The one is Consciousness, the Missing Link, and the other is Yoga and Ecology. And as it says here, it's supposed to be two different presentations or two papers, one-page reflection on each, no longer than 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to consolidate the two into one, if that's okay. If not, let me know and I'll redo it. And I will keep it to about 7 minutes, if I can. So I'm just looking over my notes, and I was really struck by the tone and timbre of the presentation. And by that, I mean the way the Swami speaks about these ideas is that he speaks of them as if they are already part of a universal consciousness, that these concepts are already in place and that they've been for millennia. And I believe that to be true. And I think it's very interesting to hear somebody who's, as advanced or whatever, is just as special as this guy is, that these are the things that he talks about. And I'm very, very excited and encouraged by that these concepts that he's talking about are things that I think that we as yogis, for me, that I think about this stuff all the time, and this is how I live my life. And it's really encouraging to hear sort of the recognition of that, and also the understanding that these are very important concepts and that they shouldn't be taken lightly. One of the things that I was really struck by about the yoga and ecology talk was the sacredness of everyone and everything. And I remember specifically writing that down when I was listening to it. And that correlates into the other talk, which is Consciousness, the Missing Link, because in both talks, he talks and refers to the idea and practice of treating everything as if it's sacred and as if it is God, or an extension of God. And I thought it was very particularly interesting about how he said that we're able to see the spark of God in everything. So anything and everything in this universe, all aspects of matter and things that are outside of matter, are to be considered sacred. That anything that is here is equal. So, and I firmly believe that I have I have no more right to be here than a gnat. And I don't like to use the example of a gnat that much, because it's like, oh, is the gnat the lowest form, or is a gnat the polar opposite of a human being? No. I think that in size, that's true, because they're so tiny. But regardless of the size of the container, the spirit that's inside that container is what matters, and is what is the largest part of that being. So the spirit of that gnat is just as big as my spirit, and I totally believe that. And, I've been thinking quite a lot lately about how when I walk around in the world, I look down. My gaze pretty much is always on the ground, and I realize why is that, I'm looking out to make sure I'm not crushing any bugs, or stepping on flowers, or creating any damage with my feet, because I know that I can just be just like an idiot lumbering around the world, like Frankenstein, and squashing things and killing things without even realizing it. But I don't even know. For a while, as long as I can remember, I've been looking down. And lately I've been finding bugs and flies and stuff at work that are on the floor, and I'll go to pick them up, and bring them outside, only to find that they're still alive. And I'll bring them outside, and and let them go play with their friends, and like there's, you know, there's so much there that there's so many different ways to go about that in particular, that I should probably get back to the topic itself. And it's really inspiring to me to hear the Swami talk about the importance of these things, and like the whole spirit of bhakti yoga, of loving devotion, extends itself out to all aspects of life. Not just the divine, not just my relationship with the God of my understanding, or with yoga itself, or whatever it may be, but like that this is a real lifestyle. And this is not a lifestyle that is chosen. It's a lifestyle that it's inevitable for some of us, I guess, definitely for me. And it's very encouraging to know that I've been participating and practicing many of these things that bhakti practitioners, I guess is what you would call them, have been doing forever. So it's nice to know that I'm in a place of where I belong, because in this culture, the like the practice of ahimsa is probably the one thing that we can all agree on. And as we all know, that is not the case in many different cultures and many different societies and groups. But in ours, in this particular part of the universe, it's really just so wonderful that this is what is important, is the sacredness of life, and to recognize that all of us have God in us. And when I can recognize that in myself, then I can see it in everything else. And until I could see it in myself, there was no way in God's green earth that I was going to be able to see the sacredness in a ladybug, outside of its beauty, but like the real sacredness and I don't care what the lifespan is of anything. It's equally as important. And I don't think that I could have had that realization if I didn't at some point understand that we are all just as important. And it gets thrown around a lot, and people say these expressions a lot, but it is absolutely essential to being. And I don't think that as a yogi I could grow, and I couldn't ever learn to fly if I didn't have this particular concept as the underlying theme of my life, of treating everything as sacred. And for me, it's lettuce, it's rocks, it's trees, it's everything. Every single thing deserves the respect from us, from me. And I think that when I do practice that, which I do as much as I can, that more life comes out of it, and more things come to life, more things sort of become animate. And the true nature of whatever that thing or being may be reveals itself more to me. The more I respect it and the more I appreciate it, the more it's going to show itself to me. So it's going to reward me back, by not being a jerk. So that's my little talk on these two videos. There's a million things I could say about them, but it was really, really great to watch them and to learn more and to identify. Thank you very much.